Hey, welcome to the School of Email. My name is Tara, and today we are talking about the 4 things your lead magnet should have if you really want to use it to grow your list and to build an audience of qualified subscribers who will ultimately purchase your services. So, first things first, let's just cover the fact that you should no longer have a generic newsletter sign up. Unfortunately, with how much information is out there these days, no one is signing up for a generic newsletter. So you really want to have a lead magnet, which is essentially a freebie you give in exchange for someone giving you their email address. So if you're just using Join My Newsletter and you're getting a handful of subscribers, when you transition to a lead magnet, you can 10 times that growth. Now, if you have a lead magnet already, pull it up, and as we walk through the 4 things that you should have, see how yours stacks up and see what changes you may need to make. The very first thing is you want your lead magnet to be very niche. You don't want to have a general, just kind of who's this for type of lead magnet. You want to speak to someone very specific. You want to speak to the person that ultimately will be buying your product. The reason for that is you don't want a bunch of email addresses that you can't use and just a generic email subscriber base. You want a qualified list of subscribers, someone who actually then later buy your product, who's interested in what you're offering, what your services are. So, for example, you may be marketing to women in fitness. Well, that's very, very broad. You need to get more narrow than that. And so this may look like busy working moms who have 30 minutes a day to work out. That's way more specific than just women in fitness. So look at your lead magnet and see who it's speaking to. Is that the audience that you're ultimately serving? And is that the audience that's ultimately buying your product? The next thing is you want your lead magnet to give someone a really quick win. You want to solve an immediate need that they have. What's something that you know your audience needs help with that they might be able to solve that day, or they can put in action right away? You don't want your lead magnet to be this really long, drawn out, complicated process for them, because we're all busy and we don't want them to just leave it unread in their inbox. So if you have like a really long ebook as your lead magnet, you might want to rethink that and make it smaller and think about, like, if they were to walk away with one thing, what's that one thing? And make sure that that's very clear when they sign up to get your lead magnet of what that win's going to be for them. Make it really enticing and make it very specific. Next, you want to make sure your lead magnet aligns with your end goal. I have worked with clients who have beautiful lead magnets that are solving something, but they're not ultimately set up to align with the end goal of what their service is. So, for instance, one of my clients does nutrition coaching, and their lead magnet was about getting your first push up. And so, while the two are, in the same space of fitness, getting your first push up really doesn't have anything to do with nutrition services for coaching. And so they redid their lead magnet, and they came up with one that solved quick meal plans that were for fat loss that you could make in 4 ingredients or less. So see how that's so much more specific and then feeds into their ultimate end goal of serving somebody nutrition coaching versus getting their first pull-up. So really think about that. What are you planning to sell? So when you're building your lead magnet and you're designing it and you're thinking about the content, make sure it's a stepping stone towards your end game. And then really think about meeting them where they're at. When your clients come to you with their problem and their need, where are they starting from? And that's where your lead magnet should be meeting them. Number 4, and this is really important, is you really want to have premium value. You don't want to do something that you just kind of throw together. You want to offer something that gives that person a taste of your paid content. And it could even be something that you ultimately later sell that's like one piece out of that, but you really want to give them something that's really premium because then that does two things. You become the expert in their minds because you're giving them something so valuable that they can use. So whenever they have something related to the industry that you're serving in fitness and health, now you're their go-to person. And it also makes them think, wow, if your free stuff is this good and you just gave me this win completely free, imagine what it would be like if I worked with you and actually hired you. If your free stuff's this good, your paid stuff must be amazing. Okay, so to recap, there's four things you want your lead magnet to include if you really want it to use it to grow your list and then ultimately build a list of qualified subscribers. You want it to be very niche. You want to speak to the audience you're serving. You want to solve an immediate need, give them that quick win, make them feel like, wow, that was so great. Align with what you'll eventually sell. Make sure that what you have on the front end is going to build them into what you'll eventually sell, and then give something a premium value. Don't leave it all behind the paywall. Let them see what you're all about and that good stuff that's paid content. All right, so next week we're going to be talking about what comes after this. So once you have a lead magnet and it's really working to grow your list, what's that next foundational piece you need to have in place? So I'll have that for you next week. Thanks.